Good afternoon. I hope you are having a great weekend. I hope you are having a great Sunday in particular, and you are refreshed. You are getting ready for the new week, the week ahead. It's always nice to look to the new week because the new week brings fresh energy, fresh ideas. Today, I want to talk about preparation in public speaking. Perhaps you, as an example, you might be having a speech to present in a wedding, a church, or any other setup in a corporate space, or a presentation about the work that you do to your colleague, to your managers, or your superiors. I want us to look at preparation and what this concept entails within public speaking. This is now before you give your speech, things that you need to do to prepare yourself. To kickstart this conversation, I want to give you an example. Imagine you're going to travel from Johannesburg to Botswana on road, driving your car, driving yourself to Johannesburg to Botswana. Think of these things. What are things that you will do to prepare for your journey? I will imagine in that situation you want to know how much it will cost you as part of your preparation. How much will it cost me from Johannesburg to Botswana? The petrol. First thing, you want to check how much petrol you need, how much you need to budget in terms of petrol. You want to check if your car is serviced or it needs service, everything is well, tire pressure, and all of those things that goes with safety. In addition to those things, perhaps you want to think of potholes, the road, the quality of the road you'll be driving on. Are there potholes on the road? Yes or no? You need to think about that. You need to think about the road itself. Do you have street lights on the road as you drive, or some sections of the road are quite darker than the others because there's no lighting, street lights along the way as you go? You need to know all of these things, because once you know all of this, then you can make a determination. Should I drive early morning so that I avoid driving while it's dark? Or should I drive until a certain point, book myself into a hotel or a place I can sleep at and rest and wait for sunrise and start traveling again? We think of those things as a preparation. The same analogy, I can use this analogy to define how we can prepare for public speaking. First, I can use in public speaking, you need to know your audience. If I was speaking at a lecture, a event to graduates, the language I'll use, for example, instead of saying I want to explain the following, I might want to say I want to demystify the following points. That's because the occasion matches the language. Hence, if you are prepared enough, you'll understand the quality of your audience education. How educated are they? First. Secondly, you will know which words they are more likely to understand or not understand. Right? If I was speaking in a place where I'm speaking to children about the importance of eating spinach, as an example, I'll probably use the character Popeye spinach to convince the children that they'll become strong and healthy and they'll have power to protect themselves if they eat spinach and all the vegetables. But if I'm speaking to adults, I need to now speak of are there certain vitamins in spinach? What can they get from spinach? I need to go a bit deeper into the conversation. And preparation helps us to understand that, because if we don't prepare enough, we're going to use words that are not easy to grasp for our audience, and that is going to result in our audience not getting the message that we are trying to drive home, which will of course frustrate us in the process. The road lights, you need to understand the audience that you're speaking to. As an example, if you're speaking at a wedding, uh, after lunch, uh, during the reception, you're more relaxed. You are jovial mode, you're joking, you're doing all of those things to make the audience relax. When you're speaking in a corporate space, speaking to managers, it's quite different because of the expectation. Hence, that helps. So before you even get into your speech, you need to think about these small things, because they can make and break your presentation. You might have a great, well-written speech, but these small things that you need to do for preparation, if you don't get them right, they might throw you off. For example, if you are speaking in an event, you need to think, if you're speaking to Christians about a concept of leadership, as an example, if you are prepared and you know that you're speaking to Christians, you might be a little bit cautious, or if you wanted to make a joke that involves Jesus Christ, because it might be taken to be offensive. If you're speaking to Muslims about leadership, you'll perhaps tread carefully if you wanted to make a joke about Allah and everything that is related to their religion. So preparing helps us to think, anticipate these things, because I've seen a lot of speakers losing their audience simply because they made a joke about someone's religion and they found that joke to be offensive. And even though the points that they were delivering were quite good, but it threw the audience off. One of the simple things that we tend to forget here when we do speaking, it's a very simple thing, clothes. If I was speaking in a corporate event, wearing a shirt like this one will help me deliver the message across. Today I'm talking on public speaking. I've decided to wear a shirt, right? I decided to wear a shirt instead of a t-shirt, because a shirt is perceived a little bit to be more professional, and it's in line with what I'm doing. If perhaps I was talking about TikTok and about doing a challenge on TikTok, I'll probably wear my t-shirt and not a shirt. Therefore, we need to think of clothes that we wear. We need to think of clothes that we wear. In my village where I come from, in Nelly, which is Nelly is a village located in the Limpopo province. We have something called Kokhorong. Kokhorong is like a place of meeting where men of the village, usually married men, they meet there to discuss issues that affect the community. Now, at Khorong, you're not allowed to address the men, usually married men, in the space, not wearing a jacket, right? If you did not do your research and you rush to go Khorong to present your case there, you'll probably be thrown out and be told, go home and dress appropriately. Therefore, we can tell that dressing up, it's something very serious. We should really put an effort into dressing up when we're going to deliver speeches. And I've heard there's a popular saying that says, dress for the occasion. Dress for the occasion, dress accordingly, right? And other people like to say, you must look the part to get the role. If you wanted to get a certain acting role, you must look that part, right? If I wanted to become a trainer on public speaking, I must look the part. As I've said, I'm wearing a shirt, I'm not wearing a t-shirt. I think that is important for this video. So when you do your presentation, think of these things. Think of these things. How well dressed are you? Are you dressed appropriately for the occasion? And take an effort, call the organizers, guys, what is your theme? Get in line with the theme. If it's pink and on white, as a guy, I wouldn't like to wear pink and white, of course. But if it's pink and white and I'll be in the theme, the best thing is for me is to wear that and arrive there, present. And of course, when I'm there wearing in terms of the theme, people will feel like I took an effort and probably I'm worth listening to. As I've said, if I arrived in a corporate space to do a presentation wearing a suit, people are more likely to give me the respect. Before I even speak, people think, oh, let's hear what this guy is going to say. We think this guy has got something to tell us. But if I arrive there wearing track pants and shorts and all of those things, even though I've got a great speech, the problem is that my audience might think that I probably don't have anything to say. Therefore, we have to look the part. We have to look the part. That will help us and give us credibility. Before we even open our mouths to speak, we will become credible speakers before we do that. So we gotta be prepared. We gotta wear the proper clothes. And we if needs be, we have to call the organizer and say, hey, Mrs. Organizer, Miss Organizer, Mr. Organizer, what should I wear for this occasion? And really dress appropriately. As I've said, Kokhorong, where I come from, you cannot dress men Kokhorong not wearing a jacket. They'll throw you out. It's therefore important to find out, who am I addressing? What do they think? Do they have a theme? Is it a cultural event? And get something that is in line with the event that you're going to do. So the other question that you need to ask yourself as part of preparation is, why are you speaking? This seems like a very easy question, but I've seen a lot of speakers ascend to the stage and they will say a whole lot of things that don't make sense. And at the end of the day, they throw their audience off. Even though there's a simple question, why am I? You need to ask yourself, why am I speaking? Do I want to educate? Do I want to entertain? Do I want to warn people? Do I want to critique something? You have to ask yourself, why am I speaking? As simple as this is a simple question to ask yourself. If you invest in this simple question, I assure you the results can be enormous. The last thing that you need to do is to say, why am I speaking to this audience? In my experience of public speaking, I have seen speakers coming and going. Some are sending the stage, and when they come to speak, they use cryptic language, complicated languages, or words that the audience cannot comprehend. And they will think that they've made an impact because, oh, I've used this word demystify instead of explain. That is cool. But you find that the audience was thrown off by that. Therefore, we have to invest proper time in understanding the audience and in understanding why are we speaking to them. And we have to understand why. We cannot just go to the stage to speak and just speak and speak. We need to know, why am I speaking to these people? What do I want them to know at the end of this speech? Right? This is a problem when speakers go and use languages that their audience will not understand, because it means that these speakers have not taken time to understand their audience. Right? Whatever your intention is, if you want your audience to receive and understand your message, you need to know why you're speaking. As I've said, do you want to persuade your audience? Do you want to motivate them? Do you want to entertain them? Let me repeat those questions. Do you want to persuade them? Or do you want to motivate them? Or do you want to entertain them? If you cannot answer these questions, stop. Stop. And ask yourself again, what do I actually want to achieve? Stop and try to dig deep to understand. And do not go ahead and give a presentation if you cannot answer this question. Why am I speaking? My name is Boni Matlala. I wish you all the best in your presentations. And I'm an author on public speaking. I'm an author of a book called Practical Guideline of Presenting Memorable Presentation and Speeches. And I hope this short for 13 to 15 minutes video will make an impact. And I wish you all the best in your presentations. And remember, you need to know why you're speaking and prepare. And prepare. There's no substitute for preparing. No matter how good you are, if you don't prepare, you cannot function at your best. And another thing that I would like to just as a parting shot say is that an audience, people can see a difference between a prepared speaker and unprepared speaker. No matter how smart you can be, people can tell this guy is prepared. How will they be able to tell? One point will follow another. Your dress code will be on point. You're going to use words that the audience understand. You're speaking to kids. You use stories that kids can relate to. You're speaking to academics. You're using much of an advanced language or words. Therefore, I want to say to you, prepare. There is no substitute for preparation. I wish you all the best in your presentations.